going, guys? Welcome back to Basketball Down Under. Today I'm joined by none other than my favourite NBL player, the toughest on the court, the most ferocious, Mitch Creek. Mitch, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very good, mate. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for joining me today. It's a real pleasure and an honour to have you on the channel.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Just got a few quick questions for you today. What's your current working out schedule with COVID going on right now?
Look, at the moment, it's kind of tough. We've been very lucky. South East Melbourne have been phenomenal in trying to get that organised. Eric Collinsworth is our high performance manager. And we were actually able to get on pretty frequently. We're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday together as a team. There are a few guidelines we have to do, like check-ins and sanitising, keys, wallets, shoes, like personal items, temperature checks, doctor checks, questionnaires, getting on court. We have one ball per person, one coach per person, one person per half court only, sanitising balls regularly, things like that. So we are fortunate we get to get in there and get some good work in. Also, we get into the gym. Pinnacle have been, phenomenal in coming on board as a gym and allowing us to train there as well. So 3 days a week on court and then in the gym afterwards. We do have the ability every now and then to go in on a Tuesday, a Thursday, and maybe even a weekend if we pre-organise. But at the moment, just as a team, we're doing those 3 days.
Yeah. So moving into your career, more early days, in Adelaide, what's the biggest change from Melbourne to Adelaide, basketball-wise?
Yeah, look, I do think there's a few differences. I was a country boy from Horsham, Victoria, originally, and I guess Adelaide was where I really found my real true love for basketball and the passion to stay around a club for a long time. I spent 8 years there, and Adelaide had been tremendous to me. The club was amazing. The coaching staff were amazing. The players are great. The fans were incredible. The city as a whole was really good. My mum was living there. My sister, my dad was only a few hours away. So it was a big country town vibe. It was very smooth and easygoing. As I said, I kind of grew up as a first-year player to, a captain and a club MVP, from coming off the very end of the bench when I first got there. So a bit of a transition for me from start to finish in Adelaide, but then obviously getting the call up to come and play over in Germany, America, and now in Melbourne. Yeah. Melbourne's a different animal. There's the traffic is one that I cannot stand. Yeah. There's a few things that obviously play its course in Melbourne being bigger, more people. There are more opportunities here, I think, to further develop my career post basketball, which is something I'm really passionate about. Okay. And giving back to a larger fan base where we have the ability, as I said, more people, you get to kind of, have different opportunities to engage with fans, communities, schools, organizations, businesses. And that's what's really important. I think we do forget sometimes that although we are, players, and that's kind of we all seen as, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and behind closed doors and what we have to go through on a daily basis just to get out on court and play in front of those bright lights on a weekend. But Melbourne definitely kind of does take the cake. It's one of the biggest sporting cities in the world, and they do a great job of it. So we're very lucky to be based here in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, it's great to have you in Melbourne. I love going to the South East Melbourne games, that's for sure. Going into the G League, you were coming from Adelaide. Would you say Joey Wright was a big influence to, improving your game and developing?
Yeah, look, Joey was obviously one of the main factors of my success. There's been a lot of people over the years, from a junior age to a young man to, being late in my 20s now. Yeah, now, and I feel like I have a long way to go still. They always say the mind catches up to the body, and then as that happens, the body is on its way out. So I've tried to speed up that process and learn as much as I can, and Joey certainly helped ease that process along without forcing it too much. Yeah. His ability to coach and be very one-on-one, to be very singular in his approach at times while still being inclusive of the team and everyone around is a main factor of why he was so good. We related very well off the court as friends. We were foes at times. We competed, we challenged each other, but at the same time, we both cared and loved for each other very much, and something we still do today. We stay in touch, we banter, we talk shit. Yeah. We keep in touch, and we try and make sure we stay close. But he developed me on a court that not many people have been able to get through to me. Yeah. In the same way he has. Obviously, everyone's going to have different methods, but him and I connected very well. I had a lot of trust for him, and that's the biggest thing. We had that with each other, and it made it very easy for both of us to flourish and develop. So when you went to the G League, did you use him, to support you mentally, even though he was here?
while you were there?
Yeah, a little bit. We stayed in touch. It was more of a checking in and making sure we were okay. And, when I was in the G League, I had Will Weaver, and he was another coach that had been amazing to me.
Right.
Someone as well as, has been very close and a very good friend of mine. We stay in touch. We talk all the time. We keep that open because you never want to burn any bridges in life. But
yes.
the one thing you never want to let go of is good company and those you can trust and feel comfortable around. And he's certainly another person. So especially at Long Island, Brooklyn obviously being the affiliate team in the NBA was obviously something that made it very easy. But at the same time, Will was definitely the guy that over there made it very simple for me.
So then moving from your NBA to your NBA part of your career, what was the biggest difference that you found from being an NBA organisation to NBL organisation?
I think the expectation you have at an NBL level is such that you want things to be taken care of. You want to be able to, you want to have on-site treatment, physios, massage therapists, during the week. You want to have your strength and conditioning. You have all those things. You have your coaches, assistants, and everything goes with that. Now, when you go to the NBA, you have all of that. But instead of just having one physio, you've got 3 or 4 physios. To having one massage therapist, you have 2 or 3 massage therapists that are full-time, not part-time, coming in once a week. They're in there full-time every day. Instead of one strength and conditioning coach, you've got a strength and conditioning coach. You then have a performance manager, and then you probably have an assistant as well. Right. You've then got, 2 team managers, or sometimes 3. Like I was in Brooklyn and we had Joe was our team manager per se, but then he had 2 helpers that were there every day that, picked up towels, that organised change rooms, that, made sure things were there ready to go. All these things play a part in how much pressure can you take away from someone having to consciously think about development and just allow them to develop. So it was just so easy. You had no worries. You had nothing to think about. It was uniforms went on a loop. You left your loop out and put it in the washing basket. The next day you'd come back into your locker room. You'd have your Gatorade, your water, your protein bars, your supplements were all there ready to go. You had everything on site. You had your training gear was there. You had your towels. You had everything. So you had to walk in, put your clothes on, get on court. Your program was set. Your physios are treating you. Hey, have you done this? Have you done this? This is what you need to be doing. It was, in a way, it's very hand-holdy because it just gives you they say, here's the recipe for success. Put in the work. Right. That's it. Over here in Australia, it's much more of a, here's a bit, but you've got to then go out and do it and then go and seek this information at times and then do it again and then do this bit again and then do this bit. So we still have all the tools over here, which everyone has. We have it as professionals a lot easier than an amateur might have it in a local association or someone that's not a pro at all that just likes to shoot hoops in the backyard and develop. We have the same tools, but we get it a little bit easier. But at the same time, it all comes down to work ethic and repetition. If you do that and you have a great process, you're always going to develop. Now, when you move up, you get the perks and the rewards, I think you might call it at times, the luck that goes in over time. Seemingly luck is something that hard work and repetition gives you. And when you have those little things, it makes it easier to develop. So I think they're the 2 biggest differences. The NBA was just a breeze to get. If you couldn't develop at an NBA team, you should just quit. There's no way you can't get better there.
So it's quite a seamless transition. It makes it really comfortable, easy to develop in such a new system.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So then moving on, when I saw you debut in Brooklyn that first day, I was pumped to see you there. And I did notice, I was just watching a clip just before we're doing this interview, that you came on, someone actually got injured for you to shoot the first free throws for your whole career. Tell me what was going on through your head, when you had to shoot those free throws without ever being on an NBA court in an official game and having to score.
Yeah, well, I got the call the night before around 10 o'clock at night. We were meant to go on a West Coast trip for the G League for about 12 days. Yeah. I was packing my bags for that, getting ready to go to bed. And we actually thought that we weren't going to be getting many call-ups. We hadn't got one yet. We were waiting, and they were telling me I was going to get one, but I just hadn't. The window was starting to close, so I was starting to get a little bit worried. We almost had the decision, well, do we go and play overseas in Europe? Right. Do we go and finish the season over there and maybe, make some really good money for the last 4 or 5 months and then maybe go back and do the G League or, a 2-way the following year or whatever it might be.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we got that call and it changed. In a second, it changed.
Amazing.
You get the overwhelming emotion of all the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the naysayers, all the negative comments, all the positive comments, all the people that have been there and supported you along the way, everything kind of comes to a massive rush. The emotion that you feel is completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
You burst into tears, you call your family, you're like, you know what, far out. Like, this is something that I've wanted my entire life and I've sacrificed so much for, and I've put myself through fields of razor blades, crawling through it, trying to just get that opportunity, and you get it, and it's friggin' awesome. And it's something that I wish everyone could set that goal high enough to where they achieve it.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, it was like, okay, cool. Now I've got to reignite a bigger goal. What's my bigger goal? And then I've really got to chase that even harder than I chased this first one. And that's what I did. But I got out on court. The first night, they're like, look, you're not going to play tonight. Just sit here and enjoy it. Watch. Just bloody take it in, mate. You've earned this. Get you some more training tomorrow. And then, you'll probably play tomorrow night against Boston, in Boston. So I was like, all right, cool, no worries. And then Ronde Holland-Jefferson goes in for a layup, gets fouled, hurts his shoulder. I didn't know this. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know this rule. But at the time, I'm talking to the boys, hey, you reckon he's all right? Everyone all talking to each other. And then the coach, Kenny Atkinson, points at me. He's like, oi, you're in. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you got to shoot the free throws. I was like, oh, shit. Like, what's going on here? And then I didn't realize until after the game when the reporters asked me, they're like, oh, how is it that you got to thank him, do you, like the other coach? And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, he picked you. And I was like, why? And then they're like, this is the rule. And I didn't know. But at the time, I ran out there, couldn't feel my hands or legs. I was super tight. I was super nervous. I couldn't bloody lift my arms above my head to shoot. I bricked the first one. I made the second one. Thankfully, I made the second one. Now, I look a little calm and cool, collected. But honestly, I was so nervous and I was shitting myself. You just couldn't imagine how scared I was. But look, after that, all the nerves settled. Irregardless of whether you get it on a free throw, a cherry-picking layup, whether you get it on a technical foul and they pick you to shoot. They don't care what it is. You scored in the NBA. You played in the NBA.
Yeah.
For me, that's going to go down forever as a day that I'll remember because I officially became an NBA player.
It's amazing stuff. And, you're actually even in more elite company than you think because Kobe Bryant's first points were on a free throw too. So it's much of a muchness.
There's a lot of similarities between me and Kobe. That's just one of 100, I think.
Exactly. That's for sure. Then moving on to your first field goal was a bucket against Boston at the TD Garden. That would have been something absolutely special. And it was against fellow Aussie Aaron Baines. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Family in the stands too. So that would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, look, we called, as soon as I got the call, my family basically jumped on a plane. My dad had a passport issue and had to wait 7 days. So he almost missed it. But I was fortunate enough to get a second 10-day, which he still made time to come over and watch a few games. Now, look, obviously you dream of having your family in the stands and you want them to be there. To know that they missed the first one because physically impossible to get there unless we bloody owned a bloody speed jet. And Elon Musk is not my friend, so that wasn't going to happen. But what was great was my family were there for the second game when I got to physically play about 20 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
I was able to contribute. I remember, getting on the court, few up and downs. They went at me the first couple of possessions and really attacked me. Thought I was the rookie off the bench and could just go at me. I had Jaylen Brown and
yes, I saw that.
Tatum go at me a few times and played really good D. Didn't score on me. Did a great job and was fortunate enough to get a middle rip, left hand, kind of floater over Bainesy for my first two and got a layup down the middle of the floor on a fast break opportunity and got fouled, went to the line and made some free throws, had, 4 or 5 rebounds, couple of assists and deflections. And you know what? You don't feel like you're not good enough. When you're out there, it's not like you have to be a superstar. You don't have to go and score 20 points. Yeah. You need to go and be in the lane defensively. You need to focus on the scout. You need to concentrate on the plays, making sure your teammates are running hard, communicating on both ends of the floor, and bringing lots of energy. If you do that, the layups, the shots, they come naturally. And that's what I try to focus on. So to have my family there, to see my mum post-game, to go through the same routine I was going through. And it's a really surreal feeling, man. And to be on a court that someone that, that I looked at my whole life was Larry Bird and Sean Kemp were my two kind of favourite players. And, to be on the same court as Larry Legend was, I literally got subbed on that court and I was warming up even before the game. When I actually got subbed into the game, I thought, I'm running on the same court that Michael Jordan and Larry Bird had some infamous duo battles on that. So it was pretty amazing.
Would have been seriously incredible. So then, just looking at like game plan spectrum, the G League team, the Long Island Nets and Brooklyn Nets, they run the same system, or how did you find changing from the Long Island system to the Brooklyn system?
So the G League teams for the main teams run the same systems. They're implemented to be that reason, because you want that pathway. It'd be like a VFL team going to AFL.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a team that links together and say, we're going to run a 5-1-5 zone, and then the other team goes, well, I'm going to do a 2-2-3-1-4. You're like,
yeah,
let's just do the same thing and help each other win. Because if we go to you, then you got to come back down to me. Then we want to be able to smoothly transition in.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. You had the same systems, the same calls. Now there's obviously different wrinkles. There's obviously different looks that we ran with our personnel in the Long Island Nets versus D'Angelo at the point, and he liked to come off to the left. Our point guard was Theo Pinson. He liked to come off to the right.
Yes.
Now he played more of a, on the rim and 3-point and then playmaking, where D'Angelo's more of a crossback snake to his left, downhill, mid-range, high percentage kind of player and late dump-offs. So it was different. Instead of coming down the right-hand side of the floor, you come down the left-hand side of the floor, so we could go back to his left. Little things like that is what changes it all, because everything sets up differently. It was pretty easy of a transition, but it is something that you have to consciously think about, because your spacing is massive. Your ability to be on the same page as everyone else when they've been playing together all season is big. So you're trying to focus on not stuffing up. But sometimes when you overthink it, you make more issues than there actually are. So it's a fine line, but something that was pretty smooth of a transition to make.
Yeah, and just quickly, the speed of the game is often discussed as what makes it a league harder than another league. You find the speed of the game more compared to the NBL to the NBA, is it much faster? How would you say personally playing in it?
Nah, honestly, I think the NBL's faster. I think it's, I'm not going to say it's more athletic. I'm saying the size and length of the NBA and their athleticism is longer, and they're bigger, they're longer, and they're stronger. But I think our pace that we play at is much higher.
Right.
The NBA is obviously a place where you have the ability to attack the rim, because they have a defensive 3 seconds, which means you have to clear, they call it cleansing the lane, where you have to, if you're on help side defense and this is the basket, you have to be this side of the keyway. So if the screen here is the keyway and the ball's over this side of the court, you start, say here, you've got a 1 or 2 second count. Now, depending on your weak side rotation, you might come out to the ball side of the lane and step back in, but you have to cleanse the lane. So you've constantly got to be in and out. But that means as soon as I know you're like 1, 2, if I'm rotating and I'm catching the ball and you've got to cleanse the lane and you go away from me, I can attack the basket.
Right.
And if I get past my man,
layup.
Yeah, like I honestly believe that it's almost easier to score that way than it is in Australia, because you got guys like Bogut that just stand in the keyway and just beat shots up all day.
Yeah.
You've got your, Dan Kuth that just get in there and beat it away. Like, you're like, oh, God damn, like they're still there. And then you can play a zone, or you can just sit there in the help side. Yeah. So it's very much different, but yeah, the NBA certainly has its perks.
So then when you were just developing getting into the G League, what was your workout schedule looking like?
Still much the same. We play a lot of games, played about 50 games that season. We did a really good job. We finished with the most winningest record of East and West out of the whole G League. We made the grand final, which I wasn't able to be a part of because I got picked up by the Timberwolves, so that kind of sucked, missing out on that. Right. But I got to be there for the third game of this series because it was 1-1, and unfortunately we lost that last game. But it is what it is, and these things happen. But look, the G League was tough because you didn't have a lot of training days. Your preseason was like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Put in some systems, come from the NBA down, and then you run through their stuff. You put it in place, and then you figure it out along the way. Will was great, and the coaches we had were great. We had RFK, we had Scotty, we had a bunch of really talented guys that just knew how to get through to players. We had a guy, Milt Palacio, who used to play with the Boston Celtics. Right. We had these amazing coaches who were so helpful. Then you had guys that just made it easy. Jimmy Oak was our video guy, who was just tremendous.
Right.
They broke it all down and made it very simple. So when you did go to training, it was sometimes just shooting and video. And then the next day it might be, okay, these guys are going to shoot. And then you other 4 guys we have catapult tracking systems which track our load.
Right.
And everyone had to be at a consistent load, because if we play up here and you guys play only this many minutes and you don't have a high enough load, if we get hurt and you have to suddenly increase to there's a massive acute chance there's a massive risk increase in having an acute injury.
Right.
So you have to make sure everyone's at a certain level. So guys will be playing 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 1-on-1 after practice to get their loads up. Now, sometimes as a starter or as a main player, you want to go and do that, but you weren't allowed to, because if you start to do too much during the week and then you get to the game and you're here and then you got to play your game and then you're up here, then you have a chance to be in, acute stress and then, increased chance of injury. So fine line.
Yeah.
Very hard.
I've never heard of anything.
A lot of shooting.
Yeah.
A lot of shooting, a lot of breakdown, a lot of walkthroughs, but at the same time, a lot of development training as well to try and continue to develop players, while also doing enough scrimmage work to keep you nice and tight as a team.
Definitely, right. I've actually never heard of that. The workload has to be similar. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So we're looking, it's a 2020-21 NBL season coming up. Is there a chance for NBA bound Mitch Creek again, or?
For the NBA bound, you said? Yeah, look, I'd love to. This year is kind of the team I was going to play with. Obviously didn't get invited to the bubble. And then also with that, I've had issues with my knee after I hyperextended it last year at the end of the season, which still hasn't kind of healed the way we wanted it to. So it's a day-by-day process. We're still getting back to 100% health. There's been a few little issues that have gone on with the body in the off-season. I've tried to kind of rest as much as possible. I'm ready to get back into it. I'm ready to go. But at the same time, your body has to be healthy. It's been 4 months since the end of the season, really, for me. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've kind of gone up and down with certain aspects of my body. Nice and strong, in decent shape right now, in a really good headspace. The things I can do at the moment, I'm doing very well. I can shoot the ball and move and kind of get on the rim a little bit and starting to get back to dunking and things like that. So it's about introducing things slowly. So unfortunately, I missed this NBA window, especially with the bubble and everything going on, COVID, obviously with the restrictions in Victoria and worldwide. But also, you just can't remember, you can't forget that everything's a process. Everything takes time. And you know what? It's not meant to be this year, but that's not to say that next year can't be the year. Yeah, we'll take it as it comes and see what the agent, Mogul Sports do and what they choose to do with me. I trust them and they put me in great positions. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for me next season.
Yeah, fantastic. Because I definitely know, is there anything particularly you're working on skill-wise? Because I know that the commentators were kind of saying your shooting was a bit of a worry when you were in the NBA. I've noticed this previous NBL season, you definitely had worked on that. You were hitting threes off the runner and stuff like that. Has that been a real key focus for you to, elevate your game to the next level?
Yeah, it is in a way. It's always going to be something I'll work on. I think people get lost in translation of what needs to be improved on. Everyone's easy to be a coach and everyone's easy to say, oh, you got to work on this, you got to work on that. It's not that hard. You just got to put in reps. Yeah. Well, it is. But at the same time, there is a certain element of what's best for the team, what's best for myself, what's best for what I'm trying to do.
Right.
If I just turn into a 3-and-D player and just shoot threes and play defense, I can't. That's not going to help my NBL team, or it's not going to help the team I play on right now. Yeah. In the NBA, that might be what they need. But at the same time, I don't believe an NBA team is going to look at me and say, hey, we just need you to be a 3-and-D and that's it. They need me to be a leader. They need me to be a locker room guy. They need me to be a glue guy. They need me to be someone who can be a voice without hesitation of, oh, is that the right or wrong thing to say? Yeah. You need someone who sets good examples, who pushes other people, who may only play 2 minutes every 5 games, but those 2 minutes shows everyone else why you have to play so hard. That's how I look at it. But at the same time, you need to be able to do the other things. Apply pressure on the rim, defend at a high level, communicate, shoot the ball when you're open, make the right plays, help your teammates get better. Those are the tendencies and traits what makes you a marquee player, especially in Australia. You can't just be a superstar that selfishly shoots the ball as an Australian and be a marquee player. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Credit to players like Chris Goulding, who came in to the league and basically, were great workers, tireless workers, would go in there and from all accounts that I ever heard was one of the hardest working guys people have ever seen. And, he's developed himself into a scorer, into now a defender, into now a team guy that just makes his teammates better and pushes his team every year to championship runs. So credit to people like him. If he was just a scorer and that was it, and he was selfish about that, and that's all he cared about, he wouldn't be a champion. He wouldn't be the successful player he is with the career he's had. So it's great to see people embrace that Australian spirit and really take it on. I think Americans forget those traits sometimes and playoff potential because they have that height, that length, that athleticism we spoke of, which some Australians don't particularly have. But look, there's a lot of things I'm trying to improve on at the moment. My shooting's really good. Starting point for that, I'll continue to work on that. I track my numbers and my scores every day. So we try and shoot at around a 75% clip. If you can stay around that in practice, you're normally going to shoot somewhere between your 35s and 40s if you're doing the right pressure shooting during a season. I mean, last year, I think I shot around 37%, which is, look, for me is great. But at the same time, I want to be up around that 40% mark and shooting good, consistent shots. I'm going to shoot till I make them. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to, refrain from doing that. So, you shoot to make every shot. You don't shoot to hopefully make it. So you got to back yourself in. And if you go 0 of 10, I'm happy to go 0 of 20 to see if I miss the next 10. But percentages will normally say my true field goal shooting is above 50%. So if I miss 10 in a row, stats are going to say I'm going to make the next 10 in a row. So that's how I'm going to look at it.
I like that. That's a good theory. It's a good mentality, definitely.
Yeah.
Moving on to your Australian campaigns, I got to ask, that dunk versus Chinese Tapai, was that the best dunk of your career?
I've had some real pearlers. I've had some really good ones, to be honest. But that one's probably one of the cool ones. It's got a bit of hype. People kind of like it, I guess. I gave them the old bowling ball in the mouth, so I probably should have apologised one day. But these things happen. I've been dunked on, plenty of times at training. I've been dunked on in games. I've dunked on plenty of people as well. So, look, it's one of those things that I was very fortunate to have, but it is a pretty cool highlight indeed.
Yeah, it was a good moment. I was up and about when I saw that, that's for sure. So the next Olympics next year, is that a goal? Do you like the new coaching change, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely the goal. It's always the goal. It's the goal when you wake up and when you go to sleep, you have it at the forefront of your mind. I want to represent the Australian team at the next Olympic Games. I want to represent the Australian team every chance I get. Now, I was unfortunate to miss out on the Commonwealth Games because I was in America in the NBA. That was one of the hardest decisions, knowing that they won a gold medal and I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah.
I knew it was probably going to be a bit of a breeze. No disrespect to any other nation or people playing, but the team we had to who was going to be playing in that tournament, we knew that we had a very, very, very good chance to do very well. Boys did that, got a gold medal. I didn't get to be a part of that, so that really hurt. But in saying that, to be a part of the World Cup, no matter how it came about, to contribute and to be just out there and be amongst some of the greats that we had on court, the coaching staff, and then obviously, as you said, the new coaching staff is phenomenal. I think it's going to be great for Australian basketball. I think Andre Lamanis and his panel of legends did an amazing job for a long time, and he chose to put himself before the benefit of some of the players sometimes, and he stood down because he felt that he wasn't best serving. And you know what, I loved him. I love Dre to bits. I'll always have time for him. So I've always said the same thing. If you don't pick me, I'm not going to be mad about it. At the end of the day, if you think that we have a better chance without me, being a part of it, then bloody go for it. I want to see Australia get a gold medal, and that's all I care about. So pick me or don't pick me, whatever's best for Australia is best for me. So that's the unselfish side. The selfish side is saying, look, hey, I'd love to make it, but what's the best chance we have? Do you need someone that comes in and can do what I do and be that just defensive mind guy, or put pressure on the rim, or go in and just foul someone and walk off the court? I don't care. I'll go in and bloody throw a left hook and knock out bloody, Sabonis, and he can't hit the game winner. I don't know, whatever it takes. I don't mind. Whatever we do to get a gold medal is fine with me.
Yeah. Well, I definitely noticed that last FIBA World Championships, I thought you should have been getting a few more minutes there. That's for sure. You were playing pretty well at that stage. Your thoughts on, you're really Australian orientated. You love to represent Australia. Obviously, I'd love to represent Australia myself in the future, hopefully. But you've got a lot of players that are in the NBA. I'm not going to drop names, but I'm going to drop one here. Ben Simmons, you could say, doesn't really care too much about representing Australia as much as someone like yourself. What's your thoughts on that? Should that be a priority to represent your country or protect yourself for your advanced career?
I don't think he's protected himself at all. I think he's made a smart decision based on what he needs to be ready for. Now, given. He could have been a part of the World Cup team, yes. But that means he gets no off-season to rest. He has to go from an NBA season, which is tough. I've never done that, but I've done a G League season. I know how hard that was. Mm-hmm. So given that they play more minutes, he's a starter every night. He plays crucial, big minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
All season long. Doesn't get a break. Goes and be a part of a world championship, world champ side. Then he has to go straight into an NBA season. Then he has to go straight into an Olympic season. Is he going to burn himself out? Is he doing too much? He just got paid max contract. He has to look after himself as well. Now, look, he made a decision, and that's fantastic. I support it. I back him because I've made tough decisions people haven't agreed with in the past as well. But look, at the end of the day, it's not about people not wanting to. It's about prioritizing what's most important. Mm. Other people have prioritized family more important than sometimes making a team. Mm. Everyone's different. I'd love to say that if I had a family or someone was unwell, I'd say, hey, look, they're more important or basketball's more important. But everyone's different. Every situation's different. So, look, I don't think it's a bad thing at all that he's done it. I think what he's going to do for Australian basketball, what he has done, will far outweigh the negative backlash he may get from missing one or two things. Ben's an amazing player, an amazing contributor to Australian sports. So props to him for all he's done for us. But look, if he's a part of the Olympic team, phenomenal. He's an amazing talent. And he's going to help Australian basketball at the next campaign. And if he's a part of it, fantastic. But yeah, I don't knock it at anything that he's done.
Definitely, yeah, fair enough. Well, I interviewed Ryan Broekhoff a couple months ago when I was in the US, and I said to him, I want to see the Simmons to Broekhoff connection. I want to see the Simmons to Creek connection in the next Olympics too.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a couple more questions here. When you were playing in Germany, I believe it was, you got the nickname the Australian Russell Westbrook. Did you like having that nickname?
Oh, look, I got a bunch of different nicknames over my career. That's probably one of my least favourites. But, yeah, look, I got a few different things over there. It was a good time over there. I loved playing in Germany. I loved the team and the culture and the league itself. So hopefully I can go back there and play another season there one day.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So just one last question for you here. What's something no one knows about Mitch Creek?
I don't know. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I put up a post just 24 hours ago, which was basically a fence-sitting post about current world state of COVID and where we all sit with things. I left it open-ended so people could look at it as a negative or a positive spec. And look, 90 to 95% took the negative approach. They got very aggressive. I was called 1,000 different names. People even tried to say, that's incorrect, that's bullshit, I'm unfollowing you, like you're an effing this or a C, all these things. Yeah. What people seem to forget is we are somewhat programmed to think in a negative aspect. What the news, what social media, what people put out is knowing what they're going to get back and what they're going to tend to, refer to. Now, at the moment, I try and make sure everything I do is with positive intent, with the want to help others, to help myself, my family, and everyone prosper around me. Now, at the end of the day, we're just regular people. I'm sitting on my couch with my clothes that I hung up drying in front of the fire, in front of a custom Paris Eiffel Tower made out of a ladder and Bunnings cardboard from a little shindig we had at the house a fair while ago. Now, I'm a regular person. At the end of the day, people forget that.
Yeah.
I eat the same food. I shit in the same toilet. I sleep in the same bed. Yeah. We're no different.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, people need to realize at some point that what you choose and how you choose to act and feel will make a huge impact on yourself and those around you and what energy you attract. I try and make sure that in my life, I give them more positive. So it's not more something that people don't know about me. It's just that we're human. We listen, we read comments, we do all of that. Now, young Mitch would have been affected by it. And I went through some really dark times when I was younger. I've had a back surgery, which couldn't walk and put on my own underwear or socks for 9 months. Yeah. I physically wasn't capable to do it. I couldn't sit for more than 5 minutes. I couldn't walk for more than about an hour. I've snapped an Achilles. I've had 7 different surgeries on my body. I've been through some very dark times in my life based upon what other people have tried to put on me. Now, at the end of the day, we have a choice. I'd love to see people make a more positive choice and uplift those around them and help others prosper. In a world where negativity is crowned king, I'd love to see a few more positive people come forward and say, you know what, it's okay. You know, yes, we may have to go into lockdown because a few heard it for many. But at the end of the day, we're all in it together. And no matter what happens, we have to be there for each other.
100%.
We have to start with ourselves and how we think. So if people get to watch this and people do take a second to listen to this, the message is very simple. You never know what someone's going through at all, ever. You're not in their position and you don't know how they feel. Just because you struggle in the same situation as someone else struggles doesn't mean it affects you less or more, or them less or more. Understand everyone has something going on and we need to be there for each other. So I just really want people to understand that, care for those around you, help others get better, help yourself get better, learn, be curious, be creative, and love as many as you can, and the love will come back to you. But I just really wish the best for people.
That's a fantastic message. I 100% agree with that, for sure. So I just want to say thank you very much. That was a really nice message you left at the end there as well. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview today. I know you've got a busy schedule, but I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much for doing that. I just want to say a massive thank you to Mitch Creek for taking the time out of his day to interview with me, Little BD. I've got now 2 massive interviews under my belt and I'm so grateful for them. So thank you very much, Mitch Creek, for doing that. It was an absolute honour. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Share this with your friends and I'll catch yous laters.